Public Safety Committee meeting for August 5th, 2024. Councilor Walden.
Here.
Wolverton. Jones.
Here.
Nels.
Here.
Harden.
Here.
Got 4.
Thank you, sir. All right, with a quorum at this time, I'll entertain a motion to dispense with the reading and approve of the minutes from the Public Safety Committee meeting on July 15th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Harden, second by Councilor Nelms. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 4-0. We have one item under old business, 040724, request for consideration of a loading zone on St. Charles, requested by myself. So this came about after some discussion with a variety of folks, with business owners, in general with parking considerations that we had from the previous request that was to yellow curb one side of this road. And one of the problems that we found was that this section bordering the green wall there, people will park there on a regular basis, which obstructs a variety of things. It narrows the road, so it basically becomes a one-way. It backs traffic up on Oxmoor. So the initial request was potentially to yellow curb this, though that's not a good solution because it forces delivery trucks onto Oxmoor or onto further into the neighborhood, which is not ideal. So this would allow for signage to be placed by Mr. Hambley and the Traffic Engineering Department to restrict this and give police the option to either tow or ticket vehicles that park there and limit it to delivery trucks that can park there. So the thought being just keeping delivery trucks on the side and off the road, and they're going to be typically in the morning, maybe later in the evening, but it's usually in the morning that I see them out there. And then prevent vehicles from parking there in a longer duration, causing trouble on that street. So that's the history. This was generated from the previous request.
So there would be a sign on this end and that end.
Mr. Hamlin and I talked about placing two, one closer to Oxmoor and one further down closer to
whatever that back street is.
it's not really rough. Yeah. Drawing a blank right now.
Yes.
At the last meeting, we also talked about, since there's a pole, since there's a light pole right in there,
Yeah.
you could probably do a third one right there.
And I think
Oh,
that
on the pole.
I think that would be important.
Yeah, and Mr. Hamlin had mentioned too striping, because you can stripe the loading zone different. I think it's almost checkerboarded or angled checkered.
And you're
to-
thinking stripe along there. That's what I've wondered. You
Yeah.
know, put stripe on the road.
You could like checker. I think it's. Do you know off the top of my head? It's angled striping, like it's typically black white, almost like a zipper line at an airport. But
The other thing that we had talked about at the last meeting was actually making a yellow curb. This requires separate ordinance, making a yellow curb a certain distance back from the intersection, from the corners, and whether or not there was enough space left for the trucks. I don't know that we've actually gotten the measurements back.
Yeah,
but
I did. Hold on.
Did we?
Yeah.
But I would say, at the very least, you could do that with this intersection, and you can always go back and add it at the other one if you want to. But we could start with St. Charles and Oxmoor, so the trucks aren't right
Yeah.
here.
So
At
they
this
they
corner.
have to pull down.
They have to
further.
pull down to this section.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of room there.
It's
It
about
may be even for
120.
both intersections, but if you started with St. Charles and Oxmoor,
What other intersection were you talking about?
back,
The back one, whatever that
St.
that back
Charles
street.
Short Stewart.
Short.
Is it from
If you did this yellow right here, coming from the back.
Oh.
So the building's about 125 feet, and then the owner of the building said he thinks it's another 10 to 15 feet from there to Stewart. So I'd say, you know, from the corner of the building to Stewart, looks like it's somewhere between 140 and 145.
If you did
So-
30 each direction, you'd be leaving yourself with about 85.
So we could do both the loading zone and the yellow curb with this, right?
At the
Okay.
corners.
And that would just
Yeah,
keep
I
the
think that
trucks
does
off.
allow it. It's a good idea to press them further back on the street to prevent
Mhm.
any kind of line of sight issues
Right.
or
So
people
what's
turning
the
the
distance?
top.
I was, and we usually do 30 feet
30 feet from the stop sign.
from the stop sign, so I would say that would be I'm happy to discuss other distances, but that would be the logical place to start, at least, is 30 feet.
Intersection of St. Charles and Oxmoor and St. Charles and Stewart,
Yep.
both sides.
Is there a curb on that side? Is that?
The other side is.
Yeah, there
what's that other street? It's not Stewart.
It's
It
Stewart,
is
both are
This
Stewart.
is Stewart.
Yeah,
Okay.
But
they're
that's
just,
short Stewart
Makes it easy.
that runs behind.
So no parking within 30 feet of intersection of St. Charles and Oxmoor and St. Charles and Stewart.
And then the loading zone in the middle of that.
Well, wait a minute.
Do you not want it to go into the neighborhood?
Well,
well, no, we're talking this one block,
I
right?
thought, I'm trying to understand what you're trying to solve here. And are you trying to keep them from being on the St. Charles side by the building and
East
close to Stewart as it's, we're
Brian,
all,
you'll
we're
just leave it
talking,
right there.
we're just talking about
Oh,
this
sorry.
one side.
I thought you were
Right.
gonna
It's
say
just
that.
this
right.
side.
Just
Yeah.
this side, but on that picture before, I'm trying to keep them from stopping where that,
So that's
where that mail
good,
truck
I
was.
understand that, but you also want to come back from Stewart 30 feet?
I'm asking if that's what we want to do.
I don't-
Y'all have been talking to the neighborhood more than me, so I don't know.
There's a mail
Yeah,
truck.
where that cut, where the cut and the blue paint, you're saying extend yellow curbing there too, to basically define exactly where they
The
can deliver.
loading zone is, which is in the middle of that block.
That's not a bad idea, as long as we keep, know the distance that the truck needs to fit in there.
I just need the distance of the loading zone, whoever can measure.
I would certainly do the one at Oxmoor.
Mhm.
But it might make life easier, even if it wasn't a full 30 feet from here, because of
Yeah, you
that
can,
intersection. I wouldn't want a truck to park right here either.
Well, and also block that ramp too.
Yeah.
You wouldn't wanna have that access.
It would be much better if they're up here.
It's not gonna leave much space.
You know, I'm trying to look
There's
at
not
that
30 feet
now.
on either side.
It says the standard length of a semi-trailer is between 48 and 53 feet.
Yeah, it's not gonna fit.
We're leaving 80.
Yeah, we're leaving 80.
I don't know that, so if we've got signage that says loading zone only, we have had problems with people parking there, but if it says loading zone only, I think you wanna give those big trucks plenty of room. I don't think you want them maneuvering, trying to get into a parking spot there. That would be my general feeling. Like if they pull in and, I don't know that matters on the back end, on the back side.
I'm not.
Do you, Andy?
We'll
The
do
back
the-
end is up for. I would recommend that we definitely do it for the
That's right,
Oxmoor end.
that's right,
Whether we do it on the back end,
right.
I'm just, I don't have strong feelings about it one way or the
Do
other.
they ever pull into that actual loading zone? Do any trucks ever
I
actually pull
don't
into there?
see them doing it a lot, that
No,
they may.
okay.
It's a little tight.
Yeah, it is pretty.
Where
Two
does
trucks
that go
ever
to?
pull up at the same time.
They might.
And so
sometimes.
you may
They
need a
might.
little
But
extra.
are they all 18-wheelers or are they
They're
more?
not.
They're
So you
not.
may
Sometimes
want
they're box
80
trucks.
has
Bread
10,
truck,
10 might
truck.
be that.
I'd say leave
Yeah.
it, don't.
But if you leave it, you get
And
Oxmoor
the
site,
Cisco
then you give
trucks sometimes
potentially
pull up
two
and
trucks
use
can
their
fit in
parks
there.
and
The goal would be to get them away from Oxmoor.
Correct.
Yeah,
And I think-
right.
Yeah.
Did you have one of the neighbors here?
You perked up, did you have?
know.
Just making sure.
I don't know anything about this.
Can I make a suggestion? Start with the Oxmoor end,
Yeah.
And see
and then
how it
we can
goes.
always come
Yeah.
back and add the
Yeah.
other one if we need to.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think one thing that would be important to grab would be that middle island as well. I don't know that it's yellow curb today, but that would be, because that'll be your bottleneck as well.
Yes.
So
Sure.
Mr. Kendrick, are you good if we include on the west side?
On the
If you
right
could just tell me
side.
how to define it.
I'll draw it for you. How
Well,
about that?
drawing's not the issue, put it in
Distance.
words.
The island between the two entrances to the parking lot?
Sure. If somebody could
Or
give
the
the
curb.
distance, typically if we could measure it off from our.
Well, car, that's 9 feet for that parking space,
I'm
that's
talking
another 9
distance from
feet.
the intersection.
18 feet.
It's about 18 feet, yeah, 'cause it's 2 parking spaces back to back, head to head.
So you don't have an ordinance being enforced by looking at a map, because the policemen, nor our citizens gonna have a map. So it's usually defined by some measurement of
Probably
footage.
close to 20.
It's about 30 feet.
Are we
or-
approving all of these items in
Oh.
the special call meeting tonight?
No.
So these are going to next
These are
week.
going to next
Okay.
week. You got time to-
So
got
you
time
can
to
find- we
figure
can get
out
the
that.
How about
distances.
this? Yeah, we'll carry this item over, and then I can go out and grab measurements and meet with Randy. Randy's in the loop on all these,
You-
so
You can,
Or you don't
you've
even
got
have
a
to.
week to get the measurements.
and
if
then
you
bring
want
them.
to before
Okay,
the-
so
Before
push it through.
If you wanted money, just get it, send it to me so I can go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I will make sure Randy and I
So you
are
want no
100%.
parking within 30 feet of intersection of St. Charles and Oxmoor, and then no parking on this island that's, we just had in that picture.
Yes, sir, and I'll get you a footage for the island
And then you may wanna get the distance of the
The
actual
way that
loading
would be
zone.
measured is so many feet from the intersection for a distance of so many feet.
I'll make sure we get it. We have a motion from Counselor Wolverton.
Second.
Wolverton, Nelms, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carries 6-0. Hang on, this gainer was
Is that
gonna.
included in the loading zone?
Yes, sir.
Like, how long do you want people to be allowed to park in the road?
I would say an hour seems reasonable. Anybody have any feedback? I can ask the business owners as well. If,
I'd say 30 minutes.
I can. 30 minutes. Okay.
It's usually 15 minutes, but typically, you say, but loading the store, I can't imagine that the vendors would wanna be there more than 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30 sounds good.
Okay.
Because hour lends itself to probably people parking there, loitering. Thank you. And with that, public safety is adjourned.